Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back, Jamie here today with another review, and today we're talking about Halloween H20, released in 1998, and in case you didn't know, this retcons all the other films apart from Halloween 1 and 2. So yeah, let's just jump right into this review, why not? Like I said, it takes place after Halloween 2, so Halloween 3, even though it's its own thing, 4, 5 and 6. None of those films take place inside this timeline. It takes place 20 years after the events of Halloween 1 and 2 because they were both on the same night. So the film starts with Mr. Sandman playing the song, the iconic song, which was, the ending of part 2. And the date is October 29th, so we're close to Halloween, the 20th anniversary since that event. We got the nurse from the original who's been taking care of Dr. Loomis, but like we said in the last review, unfortunately Donald Pleasance died, so no more Loomis has had the films, though we do get a nice little voiceover. She was taking care of him, and obviously she had a file on Laura, and Michaels came and took the file, and he ends up killing him. Ends up killing her and these two other people, a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt as well. But yeah, like when Michael's like killing the nurse for the first one, like she's like screaming, the police arrive, she's screaming for help, and she smashes the window and they still don't hear her until it's too late. But already straight away, like the mask is really good. You could tell this original shot here, it was the H6 mask from Halloween 6, which I'm a massive fan of. But there's like 4 different masks what they use inside this film, and one of them's atrocious. Actually, all of them are atrocious, really. What am I saying? I'm not a fan of any of them, to be honest. The eye holes are way too big on the mask. You can see Michael's eyes throughout it. Like, I don't know if I'd prefer this one or the Halloween 5 mask, to be honest, but... Also, to me, it doesn't really feel like a Halloween film. Like, the music isn't right, it's too orchestrated, and, they use some soundtracks from Scream as well, and it's just, the soundtrack's not there for me. It just doesn't feel like a Halloween film. It feels too dated. Like, to me, to be honest, I feel like the elements what I push forward in this, Halloween 2018 does it much better. Like, they take the elements what they used in this and just expand on it and do it so much better. But, we'll get to Halloween 2018 when we review that. We'll talk about H2O for now. So of course, the big component of this film, H2O, 20 years later, Laurie Strode is back, Jamie Lee Curtis is back inside the film, playing Laurie Strode once again. Even though in this one, she dies inside a car crash like in part 4, but she actually fakes her death. She's going by the name of Kerry Tate now. She's got a son, a 17-year-old, who's played by Josh Hartnett. So her name's Kerry Tate and she's going by a new life now. She's like, a teacher inside this private school where her son is. And this is like more character driven. You can tell like Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to, because let's be honest, in the first one, all she's really doing is like running away from Michael. The second one, she's just at the hospital bed for most of it. So this is definitely more like, it gives her more to do as an actor, which you could definitely tell that was part of her coming back. So there's a part inside the film, like after Michael kills the nurse and he's on his way to Laura because he found a file on her. They're at a rest stop and this woman and daughter pulls up beside the car. You see this car there, it's been there for ages, obviously, it's where Michael's got from. And he's just been waiting there for someone to pull up, but judging by the car, it looks so like rotten. Like, how long has he been there? Like, has he just been, waiting inside the restroom for someone to come for so long? I don't know, but that's Michael for you, I guess. We waited 20 years to come get his revenge, so... This is another element of the film that I don't really like. Most of the characters aren't likable. Like, I like Laurie Strode, obviously, and I like LL Cool J's character, the security guard, which we'll get to in a minute. But most of the teen characters, all they want to do is they just talk about having sex. That's all they do. Like, I get it, the teen characters and all, but I couldn't relate to any of them. Even Laurie's son. Like I said, I feel like not H2O, I feel like Halloween 2018 does it much better. But that's a different story. So yeah, like I said, LL Cool J plays Ronnie, the security guard, who's trying to be a romantic writer. And, he just has some funny lines. Like, he also says to John, Laurie's son, he's like, comb your hair. Because Josh Hartnett, the actor, he made a point, which I agree with. Like, before every take, he would mess his hair up. Because when you're a teenager, like, Hollywood tries to portray, like, teenagers as, like, perfect looking and all that. But when you're a teenager, you didn't care about that. Yeah, I didn't. I know I didn't. And people my age didn't when we were kids, like, teenagers. You just scruffy. That's just the way you were. So Josh Hartnett has a point, really. Like, Hollywood are always trying to make, everyone look perfect, when in reality, they're not. So he'd always mess up his hair. And LL Cool J goes, comb your hair, just in a throwaway line. It's actually pretty funny. So like I said, Laurie's a teacher, or Kerry Tate's a teacher, I should say. So they go, most of the class, like most of the school, I should say, go on a school trip out of the, because it's private bounds, innit? So most of them go on a trip away, so it's just Laura, security guard, her boyfriend, and the 4 main characters, because they've ditched going there. Laurie thinks her son's gone, but he's actually stayed behind. And we get a scene with Jamie Lee Curtis and her actual real-life mum from Psycho, Janet Leigh, and she gives the line from the first one, "It's Halloween, everyone's entitled to one good scare," which, you know, it's a really good line. And there's a little meta moment here, which, you know, I don't mind. It's alright, especially because, you know, it's Jamie Lee Curtis and her mum actually sharing a scene together, which is pretty cool. And she drives away inside the car from Psycho as well. So there's quite a few horror throwbacks and horror references inside this film, no doubt. Here's another one of them, Scream 2, he's playing on the TV. But as like I said before, it's part of the problem. This don't feel like a Halloween film. Like the mask, the score. You can tell this came out like, you know, just around when Scream 2 was coming out. It was definitely inspired by Scream 2. Kevin Williamson wrote part of the script as well, who wrote Scream. And, you know, it don't feel like a Halloween film to me. It really doesn't. It's not a bad film, I'm not saying that. We'll get more into it into my ranking at the end. Like I said before, one of the most frustrating parts of this film, the 4 different masks, and here's the worst one, the CGI Michael mask. Because the story of this film, they originally used one mask which looked atrocious, and when the producers finally found out, they forced them to reshoot, but they weren't going to reshoot everything, so they just reshot like close-up scenes of Michael. And if you go back and watch the film, you can see that the mask just changed throughout multiple shots. But on this one, they got to reshoot one of the close-up scenes, so they had to CGI the mask of Michael in, and they assured everyone like, "Oh yeah, don't worry, CGI, I'll be able to do it." This is not a good job. Like, oh my days, man. I don't know what's worse, this CGI mask, the mask from part 5, or that little screw up in part 4 where Michael's got like the white hair and stuff. So the film finally picks up from here, you know. We get Laurie and Michael face to face after 20 years at the door, and he's staring her down. And this is where it does pick up really, to be honest. But another stupid element of Laurie and her boyfriend, like I guess the teacher there, like they see Michael, it is Michael, like it's Michael walking down the hall, so he gets the gun and he shoots him, and he realizes it's Ronnie, the security guard, so Ronnie gets shot. But the fact that he actually sees Michael for a second, like Ronnie can, I guess he can shapeshift into Michael, because literally he's Michael, and it cuts away, it cuts back, and he's not Michael. So what the fuck? So like I said, this is where the film picks up. Laura decides not to run away anymore, so she gets her son to safety, and she decides to go back, and she's hunting Michael. She's screaming like, "Michael!" with the axe inside her hand. It's pretty badass, and she's hunting him down. Michael comes down from the roof from a pipe, which is, you know, like, what the fuck was he doing up there this whole time? But whatever. And then, you know, they start fighting, which is pretty cool. You got a dinner table scene where Michael's flipping over the tables and Laurie's underneath him. And she knees him inside the balls, and Michael no-sells that his eyes just go massive. He's like, "I've not been touched there for years." So obviously he doesn't speak, but you can just tell by his reaction, he's just... And then Laurie stabs the fuck out of Michael. I think she stabs him like 9 times, and he falls off the balcony down, and we think he's dead. But come on, we all know Michael's not dead. Even though they retcon most of the other films, like we've seen him go through shit. Even the second film, they say it took place, but remember at the end he got burnt alive with Loomis. At least like 4, 5 and 6 showing like the scars on his hands and stuff. In this one, you wouldn't even think he's been inside a fire 20 years ago. No scarring or nothing. But yeah, of course, like we know, Michael's not dead. Laurie knows this, so she kidnaps the coroner's van, like takes it hostage with a gun and drives off of Michael's body inside the back. Michael obviously comes awake and tries attacking her. He goes flying out the windshield window, and then Laurie runs him down. Eventually gets stuck by the van into a tree, and he's reaching out his hand to try and like form some sort of connection, which what we think with Laurie, but you know, it's Michael, he's just trying to trick her. She don't fall for it, she puts her hand out a little bit, and you think they're about to touch, and she gets the axe, boom, and she cuts Michael Myers' fucking head off. Like, holy shit, man. This is one of the best endings of all time inside the Halloween series, no doubt. But, you know, there's always some reason to fuck it up, and they never wanted to kill Michael, so the producers forced them to film a way out for Resurrection in case they ever wanted to make a new film, which, you know, they did, which we'll talk about. We'll just go into it right now. The head and Michael, it's not Michael. He switches out his body with an ambulance worker just before Laurie takes the van. That's what's revealed inside the next film, and it's one of the most stupidest retcons ever, which we'll get more into next week. So yeah, the end of the film, Laurie chops Michael's head off, and she's just stood there, and we finally hear the Halloween theme. Like I've been complaining the soundtrack wasn't right, we finally hear the John Carpenter theme, and it just fades to black. And it's one of the best endings of all time, man, no doubt about it. So overall, I think I'm going to give Halloween H20 a 7 out of 10. Like I said, it's a decent film. Some elements, especially the mask and the music, I don't really like. And I feel like, obviously, if we never got Halloween 2018, like for a while I did like this film growing up, but then eventually, you know, I saw Halloween 2018, and I feel like they do the elements better, like the whole Laurie dealing with PTSD, you know, the characters, a daughter, a granddaughter, I just feel like 2018 did it much better, but you know, we still got to see Halloween Kills. We'll see what happens in that. But let me know down below your thoughts and comments on Halloween H20. Let me know what you think of the mask as well, with the massive eye holes. Next week we're reviewing Halloween Resurrection, which without a doubt is the worst Halloween film of all time. Spoilers right now. You could say 5 is, some people might say Rob Zombie's Halloween is, but Resurrection, man, holy shit. We'll talk about that next week. Make sure to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll keep doing these horror videos. Let me know what series you want to do next, because right now I've been doing Halloween and Chucky. Once they're done, I'll be reviewing the Chucky TV show, but I need suggestions. Do Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Chainsaw Massacre, Saw, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, until next time, stay safe. Thanks for watching. In a bit.